This hard truth makes you irresistible to 95.5% of women. You are about to discover something that few men have the courage to hear. A truth that cuts like a knife, but completely changes the game of attraction. It's a truth that, when applied, transforms your presence, your power, and the impact you have on the women around you. This isn't some fluffy self-help talk. This is the raw and brutal reality, backed by the psychology of attraction, human behavior, and thousands of real-life stories. This hard truth is the key that unlocks the door to being irresistible, not to all women, but to 95.5% of them. Prepare to let go of old beliefs and concepts that only weaken you. You've probably tried everything. Starting conversations, impressing with gifts, changing your look, being the nice guy who never complains, and none of it works. Why? Because attraction isn't about frantic effort or trying to be someone you're not. Attraction is born from a set of behaviors and attitudes that show your value in an authentic way, and the hard truth we're about to reveal is at the core of that. What is this hard truth? It's simple. Women respect and are irresistibly attracted to men who have complete control over their own lives and emotions. They don't chase, they don't beg for attention, and they don't get lost in the search for affection. They live for themselves, have autonomy, purpose, and a presence no one can ignore. True attraction doesn't come from neediness. It comes from freedom. Why is this truth so hard to accept? Because emotional attachment, fear of loss, and the search for approval are natural human feelings. And acknowledging that to be irresistible, you must overcome these fears and detach yourself. That hurts. It hurts the ego, the pride, and the very idea you have of a relationship. But it's only when you embrace this pain that you become strong, and then you become magnetic. What you will learn in this video: why emotional control is a man's greatest attractive quality, how to detach without losing passion, the behaviors that repel and those that attract, how to be authentic and powerful at the same time, practical tips to apply today and change your presence. The origin of irresistible power. Have you ever noticed that some men aren't the most handsome, the wealthiest, or the funniest, yet women can't stop thinking about them? It's almost annoying to watch, isn't it? You look and think, what does that guy have that I don't? The answer, my friend, is simple but powerful. He understands the origin of his power and doesn't give it up to please anyone. The fatal mistake 90% of men make. Most men enter a relationship or a pursuit with the wrong mindset. They put the woman on a pedestal and automatically place themselves below her. They start revolving around her as if they were satellites of a planet called female attention. The problem? When you revolve around someone, you become predictable. And predictability kills attraction. Women don't desire something that's always available, with no challenge, no mystery, and no energy of its own. You become an accessory. And accessories ... are replaceable. The first mindset shift. If you want to be irresistible to 95.5% of women, the first thing you need to understand is, you don't live to please her. You live to fulfill your purpose. It sounds simple, but most men don't live this way. Most live reacting to her moods, her texts, her desires. And when you do that, she senses that your life revolves around her hand. Subconsciously, she loses respect and interest. Female desire is fueled by respect, and respect is born from the perception that you are your own man. The example of the man on his own axis. Think of a man who has clarity about what he wants. He's not available all the time, but when he is present, he's 100% there. He doesn't chase, but he also doesn't shy away from the game. He has an interesting life, his own projects, and an energy that doesn't depend on her validation to exist. This man doesn't need to say, "I'm valuable." She feels it. And that's what sparks curiosity, fascination, and attraction. Because she can't control him. And let's be honest, everything we can't control, we want even more. The root of irresistibility. Intelligent emotional detachment. Detachment isn't coldness. It's not about ignoring, treating someone poorly, or playing games. It's about understanding that you are able to be with her because you want to, not because you need to. When this energy is clear in your posture, your speech, and your actions, she realizes you're different from most men. And just like that, you enter that select group of men she considers a true emotional challenge. The scientific proof. Research on attraction shows that perceived value is one of the most important factors for desire. Perceived value isn't just about looks or financial status, it's the way you carry yourself, the confidence you project, and the clarity that your life is complete, with or without her. In other words, men who project emotional self-sufficiency are seen as more attractive, trustworthy, and dangerously interesting. The question that changes everything. If she disappeared from your life today, would you still be the same man? Or would everything fall apart? If your answer was, it would fall apart, that's the root of the problem. From today on, your focus needs to change. Build a life so rich in purpose, values, and experiences that a woman's presence is a compliment, not the reason for your existence. You don't lose women when you detach. You only lose the ones who would never truly respect you anyway. The start of the transformation. Activating irresistible mode. Now that you understand that the secret isn't in winning a woman, but in not losing yourself in the process, it's time to get to work. Because attraction isn't something you beg for. It's something you radiate. And radiating that magnetism starts from the inside out. Step 1. The strategic silence. Most men give in too quickly. If she takes a while to text back, he sends another message. If she's distant, he doubles his attention to warm her up. The result, she realizes he isn't in control of his own pace. Strategic silence is the first weapon to turn this game around. When you stop reacting to her every move, you start creating space. And in that space, curiosity is born. Curiosity is the spark that fuels desire. It's not about ignoring. It's about not responding in a hurry, not being constantly available, and letting the mystery work in your favor. Step 2. The bulletproof schedule. Irresistible men don't sit around waiting for life to happen. They have a schedule packed with things that matter to them. Workouts, projects, friends, studying, and guess what? When your life is already full, you can't just drop everything to chase attention. This sends a clear message. I am the center of my own life. You are welcome to join, but not to control it. Women sense this in your behavior. When she sees that you don't abandon your commitments for any reason, her respect grows. And with it, her interest. Step 3. The gaze that commands power. Have you noticed that some men don't need to say much, but when they look at you, it's as if they're saying, I know exactly who I am. This gaze isn't practiced in front of a mirror. It's a result of genuine confidence. Genuine confidence comes from keeping the promises you make to yourself, facing challenges instead of running from them, not constantly seeking approval. When you live like this, your gaze changes. And, my friend, that gaze is a magnet for desire. Step 4. Unshakable masculine energy. Masculine energy is a mix of direction plus presence. Direction means knowing where you're going in life. Presence means being 100% in the moment when you're with her. Most men fail because they're always divided. They're with her but thinking about their phone. They're at work but thinking about her. This creates insecurity. A man who stays focused on what he's doing radiates emotional stability. And stability is irresistible to women, because it activates a sense of security in their brain that few can explain, but all of them feel. Step 5. The I can live without it, but I choose to have it principle. The most powerful phrase you can internalize is, I can live without it, but I choose to have it. This applies to any woman, no matter how amazing she is. When she realizes that you choose to be there, and don't need to be there, the game changes completely. She stops seeing you as just another admirer, and starts seeing you as a rare prize. Why does this work so well? Because female desire isn't linear. It's fueled by emotion, unpredictability, and the perception of value. When you maintain your core self, even in the face of a woman who deeply attracts you, she realizes that she can't control you. She has to work to earn your attention. You have options, and women value what is valuable. The invisible triggers that make her miss you even against her will. Now we get into a deeper part. Because, no matter how much many women deny it, their brains operate on emotional triggers. If you understand and activate these triggers, it doesn't matter if she's distant, cold, or even says she doesn't feel anything anymore. The longing will start to eat away at the silence. And here, the most curious part. She often couldn't explain why she suddenly started thinking about you again. She thinks it came out of nowhere, but in reality, it was a carefully planted psychological process. Trigger 1. Perceived value. Women don't just attach to who a man is, but to what he represents. When you behave like a high-value man without having to say it, IFLC starts to see you differently. High value isn't about showing off. It's about having emotional control, not reacting with desperation, having a full life outside of a relationship, showing that other people also value you. When your perceived value goes up, Her mind starts to think, what if I lose him to someone who knows how to appreciate him? This thought alone is a sweet poison that creates longing. Trigger 2. Intentional absence. The average guy thinks going silent is just not talking to her. But intentional absence is different. It requires you to pull away when you're at the peak. What does that mean? If you had a great conversation, a fun interaction, an intimate moment, that's the peak when you pull back a little. Not abruptly, but by letting her savor the moment in her memory. This creates an emotional void that her brain wants to fill in. Guess who she'll look for to fill it? You. Trigger 3. The life that continues without her. Here's something few men understand. No woman misses a man who stands still, waiting. She misses the man who, even without her, is living an interesting life. This means posting about your projects and accomplishments without being boastful, appearing with friends, on trips, at events, showing that your world hasn't stopped. The trick here is not to do it to provoke her but because you are actually living. If it's forced, she'll notice. If it's real, she'll feel the impact. Trigger 4. The emotional touch. We're not talking about long, dramatic, or needy messages, but small interactions that spark good memories. Examples. I passed that coffee shop you loved today. I just remembered that funny laugh of yours. These are light, effortless messages that open the door for her brain to relive emotions associated with you. An emotion is fuel for longing. Trigger 5. The incomplete. Leaving conversations, stories, or encounters intentionally incomplete creates a mental itch. It's like you're saying, there's more, but you'll have to find me to discover it. The brain hates unfinished things, and she will feel an almost involuntary urge to seek a conclusion, which in this case, is with you. When you combine these triggers, it's not just that she starts to miss you, it's that she can't control how much she thinks about you. Transforming longing into irresistible desire. Feeling longing is just the first stage. Many women feel longing for an ex or someone from their past, but that doesn't mean they'll act to get that man back. What truly matters is taking that spark and turning it into a flame. And this is where we enter the territory of desire. Longing is memory. Desire is imagination. Longing makes her remember what you had. Desire makes her imagine what she could be having right now. When her imagination kicks in, she starts to ask herself, what if I were with him today? What would it be like if he hugged me right now? What would he do if he saw me? These questions plant vivid images in her mind, and the more she visualizes, the more her body responds emotionally. The power of contrast. Desire is born when she realizes you have evolved. It's not about telling her you've changed, it's about subtly showing her. Examples. If before you were always available, now you're selective with your time. If before you seemed insecure, now you take a firm stance. If before you were stuck in a routine, now you're exploring new places, hobbies, and people. This contrast creates curiosity and triggers the feeling that she's missing out. And missing out is one of the things the human brain fears most. The emotional lure. Here's a powerful trick. Provoke small doses of jealousy without overdoing it. It's not about posting obvious photos with someone new, but rather, showing that there is social movement in your life. Sharing moments that raise questions, giving the impression that you are desired, without having to state it. When she sees that other people recognize your value, her desire for you grows naturally. Selective contact. If you talk to her every day, you lose impact. But if you show up strategically and engagingly, each interaction becomes an event. Example, approach. I was listening to a song and it reminded me of you. I think you would laugh so hard at this. The secret is that these messages don't ask for anything, don't demand anything. They just reignite the emotional connection. And every time she feels something for you, even if it's brief, the bond gets stronger. The last impression trigger. What does she remember about you when the conversation or date ends? If the last memory is neutral or negative, the desire fades. But if it's light, fun, or mysterious, she'll think about you much more. That's why you should end interactions at the peak. End a phone call while she's still laughing. Leave a date when the energy is high. Leave a comment that echoes in her mind. This creates an emotional echo that prolongs her desire. With these strategies, longing stops being passive and becomes an active force, pulling her back to you, making her chase you without her noticing. If there's one powerful thing in the attraction game, it's when a woman believes the initiative was hers, when she feels like she was the one who decided to reach out to you. The connection becomes more intense, because now her pride is invested in the relationship. The principle of inversion. Most men try to start conversations, plan dates, and keep the flame alive by force. The problem? This makes you seem more invested than her, and throws the dynamic off balance. When you reverse the game and create moments of silence, absence, and mystery, something interesting happens. Her brain starts to work on its own to fill the void. She thinks, why did he disappear? Could he be with someone else? Has he forgotten about me? And it's this restlessness that makes her want to get closer again. Indirect stimulation. You don't need to talk to her for her to think about you. Use indirect stimulation. Post a photo in a place she's always wanted to visit. Share something that perfectly matches her taste, without tagging her. Give hints of a change in your appearance, style, or behavior. This activates triggers of curiosity and competitiveness without you having to say a word. The power of scarcity. The rarer something is, the more valuable it is. When you become scarce, she feels she needs to act fast before she loses her chance. This means responding calmly, not immediately. Not being available for dates every day. Choosing quality interactions over quantity. The key is not to overdo it, so you don't seem too disinterested. It sets the perfect balance between present enough to maintain the connection, and absent enough to be valued. Leaving clues for her to follow. Think of it like a movie that drops small clues before the big reveal. These clues awaken the need to discover the ending. Example: briefly mention something amazing you're going to do, but don't give details. Say, something funny happened this week, and change the subject. Post an ambiguous image that leaves questions hanging. Curiosity is a powerful force that drives people to act. The right moment to reciprocate. When she takes the first step, don't show all your cards at once. The best way to keep her invested is to return interest in doses, always leaving room for her to keep getting closer. It's like pulling and releasing a rope. You pull, create curiosity. Release, pull back a little, and pull again, show value. And the cycle keeps the interest alive. The impact of mystery on attraction. If there's one thing most men don't understand, it's that mystery is an aphrodisiac. I'm not talking about being fake or making up stories, but about never fully revealing yourself all at once. When everything about you is obvious, predictable, and easy to access, there's no reason for her to stay curious. The psychology of not knowing. The human brain hates empty spaces. When she doesn't have all the answers about you, her mind automatically starts to fill in the blanks. And, most of the time, she'll fill those blanks with a more idealized version than the reality. You've probably felt this watching a movie that leaves questions unanswered. When the story isn't 100% explained, you keep thinking about it and, even creating different endings in your head. With you, the effect is the same. Show value in layers. Instead of telling her everything about you in the first conversation, deliver value in small doses. One day she discovers you once lived in another country. Another day, she hears you have a creative talent. Later, she realizes you're respected in a specific social circle. Each new layer increases her interest because she feels like she hasn't seen everything yet. Strategic silence. Many men are afraid of silence during interactions, thinking they need to fill every space with conversation. But silence is a weapon. It creates tension, sparks curiosity, and makes her want to break the quiet to reconnect. A look that lasts a little longer. An enigmatic smile. A pause before you reply. All of this communicates more than words. Controlling the narrative. Mystery also comes from letting her hear about you from other people. If everything she knows is told directly by you, the narrative can lose its impact. But if she hears it from friends, acquaintances, or even social media without you forcing it, the effect is stronger. This happens because information obtained indirectly seems more truthful and valuable. The false sense of discovery. This is one of the most potent secrets. Making her believe that she is discovering you on her own, when in fact, you are guiding the process. You drop clues, create opportunities, and leave gaps, and she feels like she's earning your interest or unraveling your personality. This sense of conquest increases the emotional connection. How to provoke longing even while present. There is one mistake that silently destroys attraction. Being constantly available, at any time, for anything. When that happens, a woman loses the feeling of losing something. When she's not with you. And if she doesn't feel longing, she also doesn't feel the same intensity of desire. The paradox of presence. The human brain is strange. When we have something all the time, we start to value it less. When we feel we could lose it, we value it more. Therefore, The key to provoking longing isn't to disappear completely, but to create strategic micro-absences in practice. These small distances can be applied in several ways. Don't respond to texts immediately all the time. Don't be available for dates every single day, even if you want to. Have your own life and activities that don't involve her. This isn't a dirty game, it's just living in a way that your life has priorities beyond her. High-intensity moments followed by absence. One of the most effective ways to generate longing is to offer a moment of very strong connection, and then pull back a little. Example: you have an incredible date, full of laughter and chemistry. The next day, you don't disappear, but you also don't maintain the same intensity of texting. This creates a psychological effect called emotional peak followed by deprivation, which increases fixation. The importance of a personal world. When you have active hobbies, goals, and a social circle, you send a clear message. I am complete without you. This independence breeds respect, increases admiration, makes her realize she needs to invest more to keep your attention. Let her feel the void. The goal is to create moments where she realizes, wow, I miss him. And for that to happen, you need to allow space for that feeling. If you are constantly present, there is no void to be felt. The secret: quality presence, strategic absence. It's simple. When you are with her, be 100% present. Eyes on eyes, total attention, positive energy. When you are not, don't rush to fill the space. This alternation keeps the flame alive and creates a healthy dynamic of attraction. The power of silent self-confidence. There's a type of confidence that doesn't need to be loud, boastful, or use pre-rehearsed lines to be noticed. It's in the gestures, the posture, the choices. And this is the kind of energy that attracts women almost magnetically. What is silent self-confidence? It's not about walking around saying, I'm amazing, I'm a badass, I'm the man. On the contrary, silent self-confidence is not needing to prove anything to anyone, because you already know who you are. It shows up in your body language, the way you listen, the calm way you speak, your peace when making decisions. Why is this so attractive? When a man isn't desperate for approval, he sends a subconscious signal. I am enough. If you want to stay, great. If not, my life will continue to be amazing. This triggers a powerful psychological response in a woman. She realizes she needs to win your interest, not the other way around. Real-world example. Think of two guys at a party. The first is laughing too loudly, talking about his achievements, trying to impress everyone. The second is calm, talking with a few people, but radiating security and peace. Who gets more long-term attention? Almost always the second guy, because he doesn't seem to be competing for approval. Small signs of silent confidence. Not over-explaining yourself. You don't justify every decision. Maintaining eye contact without hesitation. Not rushing to fill silences. Wearing what represents you, not just what's in style. Being selective with your time and attention. How to develop this mindset? Work on your personal goals before trying to impress any woman. Be comfortable being alone without feeling empty. Take care of your physical and mental health, not to look good, but to feel good. The inevitable consequence. When a man reaches this maturity, he realizes that he doesn't need to chase. He doesn't need to compete. He doesn't need to beg for attention. And the most curious part, it's at this very moment that more women start chasing him. The seductive power of saying no. Few men understand the weight of this word. Most are afraid to use it with women, believing it will push them away. But the truth is, when used with confidence and purpose, it increases your value in her eyes. Why is saying no so attractive? In the female mind, a man who says no calmly is conveying, my life has standards. I don't accept just anything to please others. This sparks immediate respect, and, as you know, respect is a prerequisite for desire. The mistake most men make. Men who are afraid of losing a woman end up saying yes to everything. She asks for an impossible favor. He agrees. She cancels at the last minute. He understands. She imposes unfair conditions. He swallows his pride. The result, she realizes he has no boundaries and she starts to test them more and more. Practical example. Imagine she asks you out on Saturday, but you already had plans with friends. The insecure man cancels his plans to please her. The confident man responds, I can't tonight, but let's plan another day. This simple stance communicates, you have your own life. She is not your only priority. Your attention must be earned, not bought. The psychology behind it. When you say no, you create scarcity. And everything that is scarce becomes more valuable. Furthermore, no creates a natural barrier that sparks curiosity. If he's not always available, what could he be doing? How to say no without being arrogant. Keep your tone. Commit's not about aggression, it's about firmness. Offer an alternative, not today, but I'm free tomorrow. Don't apologize excessively, just give a quick explanation. Immediate benefits. She will respect you more. Your interactions will have more balance. You will feel in control of your life. The magnetism of an unpredictable man. If there is a force capable of leaving a woman intrigued, it's controlled unpredictability. I'm not talking about being unstable or inconsistent that pushes people away. I'm talking about intelligently breaking patterns, so she can never fully predict your next move. Why predictability kills attraction? When everything is the same, day after day, the female brain goes into autopilot. She already knows the time you'll text, what you'll say, where you'll go out, how you'll react to certain situations. And when there's no surprise, interest starts to fade. The human brain is driven by novelty and uncertainty, and this is even more true in the game of seduction. The right balance. The key is to maintain emotional consistency, being stable and trustworthy, while also varying the experiences you have together. A predictable man is like a book she has already read. An unpredictable man is like a novel she couldn't put down, because she has to know what happens next. Small changes that create big effects. Change the tone of your conversations. Yesterday was light and funny. Today, it can be deep and thoughtful. Surprise her with different invitations instead of the traditional dinner. Take her to something unexpected, like an exhibition, a hike, or a new activity. Be unpredictable with your pauses. Don't always reply in the same minute. Not as a game, but because your life is genuinely full. The psychological factor. When she doesn't know exactly what to expect from you, her mind stays active, thinking about you. This creates mental fixation, which increases desire. Be careful not to overdo it. Being unpredictable isn't about being incoherent or confusing. The secret is to create novelty within a secure relationship. Practical example: if she thinks you're going to watch a movie at home, surprise her with tickets to a concert. If she expects a common reply, send a provocative and mysterious voice note instead. Summary of the game. The man who combines confidence, resolve, and unpredictability becomes addictive to the female mind. She doesn't want a predictable script. She wants a story that keeps her hooked. In the end, it's not about numbers, percentages, or cold statistics. It's about looking in the mirror and finally recognizing the man who was always there, but who may have been hidden behind insecurities, fear of rejection, or past disappointments. This hard truth, the one so many men avoid hearing, but that 95.5% of women feel instinctively, is simple. Women don't fall for perfect men, but for men who have the courage to be themselves, who own their stance, their mission, and their standards. You don't need to please everyone. You don't need to be the most handsome, the richest, or the most popular guy in the room. You do need to be a man with clarity about his value, firmness in his actions, and authenticity in what he believes. When you understand this, you free yourself. You are no longer a hostage to games, you don't panic for attention, and you begin to attract, in a natural, almost magnetic way, women who respect and desire exactly this type of masculine energy. And deep down, you know, when a man lives this way, he not only wins women, he wins himself. And that is the kind of victory no one can take away from you. If you want to learn, step by step, how to develop this mindset, this posture, and this self-confidence, not to act like an irresistible man, but to genuinely become one, then your time has come. Click the link below and discover the method that is transforming ordinary men into leaders of themselves and, consequently, irresistible to high-value women. Remember, the right moment doesn't exist, only the right decision. And you only need one step to start becoming the man you were always meant to be.